Good morning and welcome to today's edition of Good Morning Anambra. My name is Chidimma Oranwa. It's a brand new week and I pray that all that we plan to achieve this week will come to actualization. All right, we are kickstarting the show this beautiful morning with the stories making the headlines on National Daily and also ABS website. And we have reviewers with us right here in the studio, but you get to meet them after this break. Stay with us. You're welcome back, and we have with us this morning Okikadibo Ogono Ifani. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome. We also have with us Uzo Ekemeze. He's also a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Uzo.
Anambra State, good morning. Join us for this edition, viewers at home.
All right, quickly, let's know what we have on ABS website this morning. The first story there, Actors Guild of Nigeria gives succor to Model Community Children's Home, OCA. Soludo asks Anambra to contribute in giving children easy access to quality education. Anambra State government seeks collective action against insecurity. Soludo urges Christians to promote ecumenism. Okay, let's start with you, Ifani. These are the stories we have on ABS website this morning. Let's begin with what Soludo, that's the governor of Anambra State, is asking in the Anambra to contribute in giving children easy access to quality education.
Yes, because when a mind is properly developed, as one but when a child lacks the basics of training, mostly given to them by parents and teachers, there's bound to be a gloomy tomorrow. I grew up to meet the concept na. It's not only the parents who beget the children that have responsibility of training them. The society has a responsibility. Has a responsibility, the community has a responsibility, the state has a responsibility. Even the teachers who spend most of the time with these kids have a responsibility of imbibing in them good morals, good ethics, love for the nation, patriotism. I remember in our days in growing up in primary and secondary school, some of us do copy how our teachers work, how they behave and all what's not. Okay. But today, our teachers are still shining examples for their children. Are they still mentors? I remember the first challenge I had in the university was an encounter with my course advisor where he has to walk me out 3 times. And one day, I angrily went to him and told him, sir, you are my course advisor. You ought to be my parents in this school. And the guy was a little shocked because it has gotten to the point that I was about erupting. A child who just finished secondary school, has been able to get admission, does all his clearance, and needed a guide from who ought to be a guide. And instead of giving the necessary guide, the person will just tell you, come by 5 o'clock, come by 3 o'clock, come by. I mean, without hearing that child, that's why sometimes you see some of these kids, what they do, they may not responsibly be an act from them, but what the society has forced them into being. During the earlier part of this country, we realized that once you have your NCE, even SSE, you have a job waiting. Then today, we have PhD holders who are roaming the streets. And you begin to ask yourself why. Those working refuse to retire. If you pick the civil service and computerize it today, especially locking in their dates of birth, you will see that some have gotten their degree before they were born. So when the society has gotten that rotten to the extent that these kids have no other moral, nowhere to see morals. Even in the church today don't preach repentance anymore. It is well with you. It is well. But read the entire scripture. He said, it is well with the righteous. Underline the word righteous. So even when you're not righteous, even some of our adages also, propound some ideologies that are very funny. Are you getting me? na okude manza atoji okuadelo manza atoji, you know, you know, there are some funny ideologies that when you put together, the kids are watching and analyzing it. And mind you that genetics and evolution produce better breeds, which means whatever you are today, the kids coming are smarter, sharper, and better than you. Sure. So they are analytical more than you. So when they see all these conflicting ideologies, they tend to, today what you see kids copy is those stage managed acts, musicians, you know, actors. You know, I hardly see people who copy their priests, who copy their teachers, who copy some models that are on the other side. And then this issue of Giano Chubego, Sepatego, you know, also put the kids in conflict. Because as a child, they formulate ideas, they formulate personalities within themselves, they formulate what they ought to be tomorrow. But when they have an array where the negative norms are overtaking the positive norms, all
right. Uzo, let's look at the other story there. Anambra State government seeking collective action against insecurity.
Well, yeah, before that, I just want to add something to what my colleague has said here. You know, what Ludo said is underlined. The word quality there, okay, is adjective used to qualify the kind of education you're talking about. Okay, is to have two types of education, formal and the informal. These things are education. And when you talk about to give a child a quality education, it means that you are going to train him or her in oral education. Okay, not for you to give him or her substandard education or hard bake. How many of our professors today can able to go to research? How many people can come out today as a graduate, can able to defend their mentor? So this is what we're talking about. Okay, you find that some people can go to school, at the end of the day, when they come out, they cannot defend their mentor, they cannot defend what they have already studied in the school. So giving them that, because some people can ask even their parents, they need money to sort himself out, because he has carryover, he has this and that, and parents will be able to give him money to go and do that. Tomorrow, they are expecting him or her to come out and able to become, what we call it, an advocate of what he has or she has studied in universities, or even in secondary school or in primary school. So sometimes we want to go into our educational system. Nigeria has been colonized by Britain, who also indulge or maybe engage in what we call cognitive behavior, unlike American counterpart who goes into pragmatic behavior. So what can this person do? If you can do better on this, okay, then we cannot give you that chance to do that. Not Nigerian system whereby somebody will be studying medicine, okay, actually come a doctor. You don't know whether he can able to be good in that medical line. Why can't you put him or her in where he or she can be good? So that's what we call pragmatic behavior. So when we want to go into our education, let us give them qualitative education. And the greatest investments we can do to a child is to invest in education. That is why out of school children, you cannot compare it to what is happening. Look at Bangladesh and India, okay, combined together. It's not up to what is out of school children in Nigeria, because Nigeria has fell into our educational standard, because we don't want our kids to go to school and even give them the qualitative education. So look, what he's saying is what all the Anambra, not only Anambra, Nigerians at a large, we now be on that. Then in terms of insecurity, okay, I said it down with that number, that Nigerian problem is local and they need local solution. And that's why you see Chaluman Bafo, okay, calling the community to partner with the state government to cope out this insecurity. Those people are doing this thing, we know them. Where are they living? I don't see people that are causing this insecurity problem in Anambra State coming from China or coming from Ghana, coming from where they are within. What each vegetable leaf is beyond what vegetable leaf itself. There's a muscle beyond the marks. So people that are here knows those that are committing this thing and they are living within. So if community will partner with the state government to give useful information, we can now make this into board. And I want us to know that the type of method we are going to use to fight this insecurity is not kinetic formula. Okay, we are going to use what we call center of the gravities. Okay, method. Center of gravities in the sense that who are the sponsors? Okay, where they come from, where they go after attack. Once we get the sponsors, okay, following this crisis, okay, following this embarrass, then you take them, and they can see to be a university one. So when you get people that are sponsors, the perpetrators will be, onto their what do you call it, various den.
Okay, just to let you know that you can actually be part of this program this morning. The phone number is displayed on your screen. If you want to contribute towards what we are saying this morning, you're free to do that. Quickly, let's go to our next paper this morning. That's the very first paper we are going to review, and it's the Daily Sun newspaper. With the big story in front of the Daily Sun, tension in PDP over zoning convention committee. Atiku Tambuwal, Wike, others split neck. And then court stops PDP INEC from conducting fresh Congress in Ebonyi State. Southern APC presidential aspirant in dilemma as chances become slimmer. Domestic airlines cancel plans to shut down flight operations. Aviation expert urges federal government to release unused 22 billion naira bailout funds for Jet A1 subsidy. Ozodimma Carlo Iwanya Wumon as Senator Nzeribe. All right, these are the stories we have in front of the Daily Sun newspaper. Ifeanyi, which would you like to contribute?
Tension in PDP over zoning convention committee. I don't think there's any tension. You know, the issue is that there is a scheme, an organized and orchestrated plan to tactically ensure that Igbo man does not emerge as the presidential flag bearer of PDP. Unfortunately for them, you know, the Igbo man is ready for the leadership of this country. Nigeria is standing on a tripod stand. The Hausa, the Yorubas, and the Igbos, and the other ethnic and nationalities align within this tripod stand. You can only have tension, you can only have scuffles within when things are not done properly. They should allow the system run. The Igbo man has supported the Northerners. They have supported the Southerners, the Yorubas and the North, the Hausas and the Fulanis. Why now it ought to be their turn? Like I do say the other day, if the issue of zoning is for equity, and that same equity and fairness is not extended to the various components of the southern Nigeria, then it is not equity. Then it is something different. Because you cannot be telling the North, okay, for equity and fairness, let power come down to the South. Then when it comes down to the South, the same equity, the same measure that it was used to get this thing down to the South will be set aside for a new platform or a new formula. That is what is happening there, until the political parties in Nigeria recognize and understand that our diversity is necessary for our existence. God did not, it is very simple for God or the creator to make everybody look the same, but he never did that. We should also understand, even in mangoes, even in fruits, there are varieties, and even in those varieties, variety is the spice of life. Why must the Igbo man be excluded from the leadership of this country? And we are seeing the impact, and yet we don't want to stick. We don't want to do what is right. Allow the process run by itself. I tell you, if today all the political parties say, just like it was done in 1999, let the power go to South and let it go precisely to Southeast, you will see peace, you see tranquility, you will see perfect run of this election. But anything outside that, and you don't expect the other man. It is getting clearer by the day that Igbo man is not needed in this country. Then it begins to point to those people who are agitating, who saw this ahead of time, and they were making noise about it. Why not? You don't look like what you are described as. The country should allow a peaceful process of politics. If actually Nigeria is have unity in diversity, if actually we are one, then we should also know that what is good for the goose is also good for the gender. Yeah.
All right, Ozo.
Yes, born to rule mentality. People think that they are more superior than others, that others are inferior, that power is inheritance. Is their father's inheritance. Then, if we are trying to practice what we call practical federalism, okay, whereby everything is based on federal character, and Nigeria is a federation unit, and we now know that all these, a component in Nigeria made up of 3 major ethnic groups, that is Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba, okay, and you find out that what is happening before now, I want to thank the leadership of this country, President APC, to a cleaner for them to understand what is happening between 1954 to 1963. How was this country being run? Is there any problem in this country? Why are they living together? Then why do we bring this kind of system of government? Which also we believe that Nigeria practice presidential system of government. And in such presidential system of government, what is obtainable is primacy of constitution. Constitution is ground now. Now, there's no express mention of issue of zoning in our constitution. It's not expressly said, okay? But party himself, PDP, who says that power belongs to people. I don't know the cited section 14, so 1 and 2. As amended, the power belongs to people, in whom the government drive its powers and authority. Now, PDP, the same thing says that power should rotate between north and south. I want to ask PDP one single question. That in 2019, okay, Obasanjo, first president, Yar'Adua, second president, Jonathan Tek, okay, then in 2019, they zoned the presidency to north. None of the person from the south contest the election. Now, in 2022, why are they saying there's nothing like zoning when it is right in the constitution? That's why some people are challenging it in the court. Because if your constitution says that they're going to do this, it will be a primary basis for the person to take it to court, and the PDP will go to court. Let the court interpret what they mean in their constitution. I know that it's not, we are trying to tell Nigeria to zone president to southeast. We are trying to tell the party, which it is in the constitution, to follow the constitution still to so as it has been stipulated in their constitution. Same thing to APC. They have this in between north and south. Okay, now the north has already taken their 8 years. Buhari will round up 2023. Let the power come to south. Then we come to south. In this south, we have 3 regions: southwest, south, and southeast. Then southwest has been there. Vice President 8 years, President 8 years. South has been there 6 years. Now Southeast has not come. Equity demands that if you go to equity, you must go with clean hand. So I'm challenging these 2 major political parties to go back to their constitution and now tell us what the constitution says, or people take them to court, let them go and interpret it before the court. So what I'm trying to say, you cannot tell me that we are Nigeria and you say that I'm not qualified to be this, that you're afraid of me. If you're afraid of me, then there's none of me being with you.
All right. Let's quickly go to our next paper this morning. That's the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper with the banner headline there: APC slams 9 conditions on presidential aspirants. Contenders barred from taking party to court. Inflation to hit 7-month high at 16.2%. Interest rate to go up. Aviation workers begin warning strike. Airlines shelve flight halt. Senator Nzeribe dies at 83. ASUMO strike extension protest in cities. VC's wife shifts Pale. And then down there we still see federal government investors draw down 850 billion naira unclaimed dividend funds. Supreme Court's verdict on 17 oil wells not final, says Imo State government.
First, I will take the VC wives to cleaners. What is VC wife? Upon what authority do they exist? You know, sometimes I get disappointed with the academias. We are shouting about wives of the governors. Today we have wives of the president, wife of political appointees. Today it has crept into the academia. Wife of VCs, another group of waste resources. Where are they getting money to be spent from? They shifted their pally. They want to go to Turkey. One students are on strike. Have they advised their husbands to do the needful? The internal generated revenues of the universities, where is it? ASU is on strike. Have they advised their husbands who are ASU members on the interest of their children, on the interest of Nigeria? It's only when ASU is on strike you remember that education, fund the education, fund the education. Which education are they funding? Is tertiary education the basics of education? If we must ask ourselves questions. The primary and the secondary are the basics of education. The university is just a painter. Education is built in primary and secondary school. And the wives of VC have the guts to assemble themselves in whatever form or manners to discuss what? Who funds that activity? Who funds the organization? Who gathered them together? On what premise? This country, we should advise ourselves. The academics are not living up to expectation. They are not. And they should better tell Nigerians the truth. In other sane nations, people go to copy what happens in the academia, what happens in the institutions of higher learning. What are they teaching? What character are they molding? What educational, what knowledge are they driving into people? Yes, freedom of association, yes, power is not absolute. They have freedom of association. I quite agree and accept that. But the question is, associating for what purpose? To travel out of Nigeria and go and gallivant around. Then also extending their strike. Well, to the best of my knowledge, they are not even on strike. You can't tell your employer the model or the mode upon which your engagement is. He is the person with the knife and the yam. I do say, if their anger is IPPIS, well, for me, the federal government should insist. If they have UTS, why did they not bring it up before now? Is it only when federal government has spent their money to develop a model or a system by which they can run, then you now remember that you can do such? He who seek equity should come with clean hands. Oh, you can produce such a model, but you never did that. You never advised of that until it's not affecting you. You now have to create a cocoon for yourself. And what are you telling? Then every other person is right in whatever he does. If the sanity that ought to be from the academias are not given, are not seen, are not practiced, you are in strike. Out of the 5 days in the institution, if you have the care of these kids in your plan, if you have them at heart, if you have them at the center of the country's development, which you are talking about, out of the 5 days, the 5 working days, why not be on strike on 2 days and allow the other 2 days for learning? No, you totally shut down the institution. You totally shut down the institution. You totally shut down, not caring about them. The quality of education. The quality of education starts from the primary and nursery. It is when you develop them, when you come there, you are only trimming them to become professionals. So if the basics upon which they develop is faulty, you can never get the best professional out of them. Funding education, what education are they funding? Tertiary education. Even when this money comes, the 4 unions in the university will be shortchanged. ASU will take 75% of whatever that comes. And yet, you have doctors who also are doctors in the SANU, and you have them in technicians. Because they are not professors, they are lesser human beings.
Okay. Do you have a different opinion?
Yes. What I'm trying to say, in effect, is that, first of all, the problem we have in Nigeria is the cumulative failure of leadership over the years. Because you found out that all these people that are in leadership, starting from the Minister of Education, so they cannot talk about the VC, wives or whatever, those ones are giving the relevant. I'm advancing the media and not even to put it on paper. Okay, just giving the relevance. We're talking about why are these people on this particular strike? Something becoming a recurring decimal. Okay, every year we heard about ASU and federal strike, Then the federal government has started to negotiate with ASU. How many times we don't negotiate with them? Okay, what they have agreed. I believe that there's what you call employer and employees relationship, and there must have to be a kind of what you call a tripartite agreement to sign with your employer before you get into that. That's why we established industrial court. Now, if the federal government fail in what they agree with this academic staff union of university, okay, over the years, why are they not implementing it? It's because none of their children is in a Nigerian university. None of them. If you want to be a minister of education, your children must be in Unizik here, or Unilad, or Unimed. Okay, he must be there. Your children must be in primary school in Nigeria, secondary school in Nigeria, not for you to send them abroad and they will and you go to graduation in the UK and come back, and other children are wallowing in the street. Look at how many years now ASU has ended warning strike and is doing indefinite strike. Why is the federal government insensitive in this? Because none of them is being affected. When we're talking about insecurity, none of these people has been affected. If you go and kidnap any of one of their children now, okay, you see what they're going to do. So now what I'm trying to say, the federal government and the ASU has their own shortcomings as per se, because if you go to that university, lecturers do not even have students at heart. How can you come and say that you're a lecturer? Okay, you give just a subject matter, ask them to go to Google and develop it. Is it hard to lecture? You must be able to stand before the student in the lecture hall and able to take questions and download it properly, so you can be able to assimilate it in their memory. Not for you to just go there and do this. So none of them have all the children's welfare at heart. That's why they can never go into research. None of them can do this in practical. Let me just tell you what we are up to in Nigeria, as I said it, is cognitive approach of education and not pragmatic aspect of it. Then what I'm trying to say is that let the federal government take this issue of strike seriously and do their own part then the masses or the students will know that the ASU has failed to deliver on their own part. They need to be a part of it. Not any time federal government will be claiming that we are your employer. You can't subject employee. Even if you are an employer, he has his right. Everybody has his right to do this. Then coming to the issue of...
we still get to that. Let's go to our next paper because of time. The next paper this morning is the Vanguard newspaper. There we have bandits kill 55 in fresh Zamfara attacks. That's a big story there. And then we must not allow bandits have free reign again. This is coming from the President Buhari. Down there, 10 fear dead as explosion rocks illegal refinery in Abia. ASU's warning strike ends today. Union may go on full-blown action. 100 million naira nomination form, Kwankwaso mocks APC, says NMPP firm is cheap. Declare Buhari's pardon for Dariye Nyame illegal, Serap tells court. Why I haven't named those behind insecurity in Imo State. This is coming from Ozodinma, and if you want to know that story, you can go to page 11 of Vanguard newspaper and read the story. Then we also have the UK excludes Nigeria graduates as it begins high potential visa application. You still see up there the death of Senator Arthur Nzeribe. He died at the age of 83, and we pray that his soul will rest in peace.
Yes, of course, we commiserate with the family of Arthur Nzeribe. It's a great loss to the Southeast in general, so we must have to, sympathize and facilitate with them in this particular moment of grief.
The people of Oguta, our heart goes with you people. You've lost an industrious son. And the loss of any man, it's painful even to the immediate environment. It's one name that the Igbo nation used to open doors, but God has the final say.
Sure.
May God accept his soul and grant him eternal rest.
Amen. Amen. All right, let's look at what is coming from NPP. That's Kwankwaso mocking APC, telling people that their own form is quite cheap.
To me, it's a kettle calling a pot black. Kwankwasos have been part of the system. When in a game you are gamed out, you start pointing to, he has been there, a senator, a governor, a minister. So, what else are you looking for? If he had actually impacted on the system, is this the outcome? Then if this is the possible outcome and the best outcome, then he ought not to be involved in the system anymore, not even mocking anybody. He has contributed, for somebody who has been a former senator, a governor, 2-time, a minister, and he is mocking a system that he has been part of. Then he tells you the level of his moral consciousness, and he tells you that he has nothing to offer. Sincerely speaking, he has nothing to offer. Because if he had something to offer, he would have offered it to change the system. The system they design and the model, it's very simple that it's what you impute that will finally come out. So if all their imputes, even all these ones that are relevant, sometimes I refer back to Professor Humphrey Wose, who said the ban on old politicians. We should stop recycling some of these people because they have gone out of use. Even nature has a way of removing the old for the new to take over. What is he mocking them for? Their own is cheap. Cheaters as at how much? They should have granted, in fact they should throw it free. Anybody should come and take.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
you see, the issue is that, yes, in as much as Kwamposo was part of this particular game, he was in PDP, go back to APC, APC to PDP, PDP
a nomadic
to
politician.
NPP. It is this we call these people we call them transactional politician. Okay, yes. In as much as he was one of the person that created this problem, but what he's saying is in order. Okay, 100 million. What is EFCC doing? APC is a party that established on lie, cultured by lie, sustained and maintained with lie. So if now you see that the issue of 100 million donation form, say group pays for MFL, group pays for family addition, which group are paying for that? Which group? Group of what? Group of monkeys, group of snakes are paying 100 million for in this Nigeria of economic instability. There's some bank are shutting up their services as much as it's 4 p.m. or even 3 p.m. every day because of the high rate of gas. So now you're telling me that people can now come out and dish 100 million and pay for you. Which group? I lend them, all of them that I said they paid 100 million. Show me that group that mobilized 100 million for you. Let us know the source of income for
all right,
100
quickly,
million.
let's go over to the next paper. We are going to be taking New Telegraph and Daily Independent together. The story in front of the New Telegraph: 2023 tsunami imminent in APC will provide level playing ground for all aspirants during primary Adamu. Everything going haywire under ruling party. Bauchi governor. PDP, APC, no longer Nigerians' choice, Kwankwaso. And then we can still see there, Northwest crisis, sustained onslaught against terrorists, Buhari charges the military. That's Imo River still disagree on all wells. 675 million naira fraud, prosecutors absence, stalls trial of cultist kingpin. Then let's move over to the Daily Independent newspaper. Federal government borrowings crowding out lending to private sector. Analysts say it's unhealthy for the economy. Ngige misled Nigerians. We are still on strike. Research workers. Aviation crisis. Airlines succumb to pressure. Call of planned shutdown of operation. There is corruption in supply chain of aviation fuel. Unions. Reps cancel planned emergency session to meet stakeholders. Buhari attends conference on desertification degradation in Abidjan. All right, these are what we have in front of the New Telegraph and Daily Independent. But I would like us to talk about the big story in front of the Daily Independent. Federal government borrowing, crowding out lending to private sector.
The question is, has been banks lending to private sector, and what is the rate? You know, Nigerian banks, as far as I'm concerned, they don't even have a model for lending. They only lend for transactions, not for investments. I repeat, they lend for transactions, overdraft, commerce. Because if actually they are lending, the federal government, because they are lending to them. How did the federal government just walk into the bank and pack off whatever they have? They are investing where they feel they will make maximum profit. How can you lend a farmer at a rate of 25% per annum when you know that if he's a cocoa farmer, the first 2-3 years is a gestation period for the business? Even a normal businessman that's not into marketing, that is into production, there must be a process before. So when you tell me that federal government borrowing is whatever, did they come in there to pack all you have? You submitted it to them. Right. In fact, what the banks do is to buy treasury bills that ought to be for the private sector, where they can now, start to raise funds and then use for securities. For you to borrow from Nigerian bank, only the volume of security required and the checks on you makes it very discomforting. If you don't, in other same clients, they bank on proposals and ideas. They lend to proposals and ideas. They lend to develop the country and develop the nation. What we have here is a commerce bank. A purely commerce bank. So they sell their money. They are actually selling to the highest bidder.
All right.
The issue of borrowing has become a kind of a cankerworm to this APC-led federal government. Because PDP borrowed 6 trillion in 16 years. APC, not up to 8 years, around 100 trillion. When are we going to pay this money? This debt is for myself and you, your children and my children to pay that. To the extent that even Nigerians are not ashamed of going to IMF board, shopping for loan in Chinese streets. How can you tell me this? That in 16 years, 6 trillion, not up to 8 years, they are going to up to 100 trillion. You borrow, when you borrow for consumption and not for production, then you end up putting the country into an abject debt. Okay, look at our internal reserve, on the standard debt profile. You see, Nigeria have rated as poverty capital of the whole world. In the sense that all this money have been borrowed is to fund 2020-2021 budget, which is deficit. Because all the money that are borrowed are not put into production. When they get production, you put it into revenue generating venture. And now we're going to create employment. And we're going to create production so that we can now produce what we eat and eat what we produce. But at the end of the day, we find that we import more than even what we don't even produce anything. We don't even export anything. Now take our import and export rate and find out why you say private sector are not being affected. Let me just tell you. Yes, I know that some bankers' policies in lending, okay, is very, very strict. But African man is not the way that you borrow in America, borrow in UK, they're going to borrow an African man. African man has to change the way he thinks before he change the way he acts. Because if you give them this money, they will go to default, not even to return the money to the bank.
All right. Next papers this morning are the Punch newspaper and the Guardian newspaper. Let's start with the Punch newspaper. Emefiele heads for court as anger spreads over presidential ambition. Hires Ozokeme to seek constitutional interpretation amid rising criticism. APC chair confirms CBN governor's membership, says he registered in February 2021. Emefiele's action could compromise bank's integrity, ex-director and SANS. Then Jet A1 airline suspend flight shut down, reps to meet operators. Bandits mustn't have upper hand in Northwest again, says Buhari. Nigeria loses 1.22 trillion naira to deficit oil production. You can see there fuel queues resurfaces in Abuja and neighboring state. And then also let's move over to the Guardian newspaper. Still Emefiele story. Emefiele's 2023 aspiration rattles financial experts and lawyers. Fasua injection of CBN chief, additional points to more complex game plan. He has no moral, ethical reason to remain in office, says lawyers. HIDA petitions ICPC to investigate Emefiele. And then Bakassi drags INEC to court over alleged disenfranchisement. Bandits must not operate freely in Zamfara, says Buhari. Now, the big story, Emefiele story.
I don't know. Where is the morals? Where are our conscience? Where is the humanity and the human being in us, not human beings? I mean, you see, this is what we're talking about. Academia's leading us astray. You are hiring sons to do what? To interpret what? If your conscience is clear, if you want the presidential seat, nobody is stopping you from doing that. But what you need to do, jettison want to pick two. You cannot be holding this and holding that and holding that. Even when you know that where you are sitting requires high morals, high integrity. What is Emefiele's concern being the president of Nigeria? You're already controlling the economic part of Nigeria. You see, this is the challenge some of us do have. This issue of leadership and leadership recruitment keeps reoccurring. How do these people even emerge? Upon what premise did he get to where he is? Because you can't give what you don't have. Any man seeking for any position in life, we should start asking what is his moral standard. Who is he? Where is he coming from? What is his background? You have controlled the financial arm, economic arm of this nation for a very long while. What is your report card? Why seek government or political appointment through the back door? Come out. Start from, you just enrolled into APC in February. It's enough for you to even have pulled out. It's more than enough. You cannot be the arbiter and the judge in one matter. You can't. No, it's very painful. You see, I sometimes have to forgive those who are not that educated, who are not, and they say, you see, the degrees they award say character and learning. Where is the character in all that? ASU is shouting they should pull down the certificate of the Minister of Education. Look at this. Just look at this. Have ASU now asked for his certificate to be pulled down? Somebody who is wrecking the nation morally. Then what morals do we have to say this, to condemn a criminal? Okay,
let's know who we have here this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us your name and your location.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Tell us your name and your location, please.
I'm Samuel Ogogi coming from Kaduna.
Okay, Samuel, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Samuel Ogogi from Kaduna.
Go ahead, Samuel.
Thank you. My contribution is this, yes. Okay. The situation in the country is mismanaged. The Nigerian situation is in a terrible state. Look at the way Attorney General of the Federation is managed the state man to be the EFCC chairman, so that whatever they are doing now, where EFCC has been killed, they are using their connection of 100 million to enrich the party. Only one of them will get the ticket, and all the money they are using to buy the ticket belongs to Nigerian nation. And nobody can complain. Nobody, the EFCC cannot even do anything because of the way and manner they have arranged their things. Attorney General is there protecting them and saying they should stay in office until they get their nomination, and whoever fails continues in office, and they are siphoning Nigeria money. May God save this country from the hand of APC.
All right, thank you so
On
much.
a final note,
What I'm saying,
on a final note, I want to tell us the simple truth. All these are just games aimed at shortchanging an Igbo man from the 5 southeastern states from being the president of Nigeria. They have seen that the agitation has gone to the crescendo, so they are looking for pseudo Igbo men who they can, puppets in their hand, just like what they did with the minister, the head of Nigerian Defense. Bringing in Lieutenant General Ando Kairabo, who comes from across the Niger. This is the same thing they are just about trying to do. The Igbo man has requested and demanded a charter of equity, allowing them to become the president of Nigeria. They are now looking for, they have tried bringing in Jonathan, who they know will have the soft landing for the southeastern states. It didn't work. They are now going for MFL. It's very painful.
Right.
so
Hello. Sorry. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Your name and your location, please.
Okay, I'm Obuna Ibe, a retired Nigerian from the government service. We are now talking the economy and the insecurity also in Nigeria. The Nigerian constitution is just not implemented, and it lacks very vital laws that should guide the leadership to run without any problem. The insecurity is as a result of proper indiscipline. Look at Samuel talking about how much money discipline brings in their party system. Individuals need such amount of money. But the Constitution has agency of system where they can check where they take this money. When it is dispersed to states are not checkmated if they are used for the proper disbursement they are sent for. Workers and pensioners are not paid. People who come out of the university don't get a job to do. And there's no security in that for people to stay dependent and use their professional experience to do a work. Others who come from here and there will just kidnap somebody because they're bandits or something like that. Yes,
All right.
because the Igbo man is being cheated or that. The Igbo man is so corrupt, they don't lock themselves. They don't lock themselves. What is it that they were suggested to make up 6 states in the South politically?
All right.
And they made, and then decided to cast a vote where Abba was proposed after he had got 12 votes and against 5 for Adada.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution.
Another people in the National Assembly and so on. Please, let us begin to love ourselves.
All right.
It's not simply to bring that one person to us in the first place. All of you will go for the academics.
All right, thank you so much for your contributions this morning. All right, quickly, let's just finally see what we have in,
What I want to say in this
Leadership.
issue of Emefiele is that the issue of Emefiele contesting for election, it has been amplified Okay, what I said earlier, that National Assembly Act of Section 84, Sub 12, that the went to Attorney Federation went to State High Court and get order to implement it, that nobody should implement that Section 8. They have to resign, and that's why they're coming into this thing now to contest election. It like moral, it like legal, and every other ramification to contest this presidential election.
All right, we want to say a very big thank you to you, or Kakadibu, if you're going to find. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
And also to you, Uzo Ekemize, thank you so much for joining us today. All right, thank you so much for joining us on Press Review. My name is Chidimma Orangwa.